go bring on Jamie Chirio. Jamie has been with us. I'll let you kind of tell. There he is.
What's up, man?
Buddy.
Let's see if I remember how to do one of these. It's been a while.
You're doing great. You're doing it. You're doing great already. So, Jamie got started with us. The coolest thing I think about Jamie was there were 2 test dates when he got his voucher. There was one in 6 days and there was one in 3 weeks. And he's like, which do you think I should do? I was like, do the one in 6 days. And he was like, okay. And he knocked out 40 hours of if you're any of you are studying for your test right now, you know, it's not like reading a Harry Potter book. It is like reading a geology textbook or a life insurance textbook for that matter. And Jamie knocked it out, got his license, got in contracting and went to work. But I want to pass it to you, man. I'd love for you to kind of share this. We got a lot of new people on here. A lot of people that I know there's people watching even right now that are going, is this something I can do? Is this something, you know, maybe it worked for Grady and Jen and Gage and, you know, and Clay and that Nina, she works really hard and, you know, that type of stuff. They're talking themselves out of them thinking. Mm-hmm. But I also would love for them to hear your story just about what you've done and how you found your way here. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I will. I'll give a spark notes just because it's been a while. Grady and I have actually known each other for coming up on 10 years, which is incredible. Between Grady and his parents, you know, they were my first mentors back in network marketing, where I got my start. I'm currently about to turn 27 years old. I live in Albany, Oregon, on my wife's, you know, family's farm. And, you know, we've been married for just over a year now. All right. We celebrated our anniversary on July 5th, which is super exciting. And, you know, I'm originally from Michigan, and that's where I kind of gotten started at Michigan State in network marketing. I got started with a company that Grady and I were both in. That's where we got introduced. And I was 18, 19 years old, and I found, you know, a good amount of success. And I was able to, you know, build a team of college kids slanging energy drinks. And, you know, I was able to travel all over the world with Grady, you know, speak on a bunch of different stages. However, one of the most humbling things that happened with that business, you know, even though I was able to build it up to, you know, what I considered at the time, you know, a pretty big income until I met the people here at Family First Life. I built it up, but, you know, it was totally out of my control. The FTC decided to come in and they decided to make an example of our company, not because we were necessarily doing anything that was morally wrong, but because they wanted to create new precedent and new policy within the network marketing and the direct sales industry. So they decided to make our company an example, and overnight, income gone, income slashed to zero, company car payment gone. You know, now, you know, we got to cover that. And spent a couple of years just trying to figure it out. Went from company to company, ended up in another company very similar to the first one that I was in. Worked with Grady and one of his former business partners on creating a, you know, CRM, a sales software for prospecting for that business. And that was a lot of fun. We had our own team app with landing pages and whatnot. Didn't last, unfortunately. Decided I wanted to try my hand at starting my own network marketing company with one of my best friends. We started a travel and adventure club, and that's actually where I met my wife. So huge blessing that came out of that. And most recently, kind of through that whole journey, I realized that my business partner and I at the time, we were really good at creating marketing tools for our sales teams, for our organizations. So for us, the light bulb kind of went off and we said, wow, you know, rather than just creating these sales tools for our organizations so that we can increase our own personal commissions, why don't we, you know, do this for other companies? Why don't we create our own business? So we created a digital marketing business and started creating those types of tools for other companies. Just started with, you know, really simple marketing videos, you know, like the marketing video we just came out with, that animation, which was absolutely fire. Grady had a great voiceover in that. You know, videos very similar to that. That's where we started. We moved into the personal branding space, had a really big software on Instagram that we sold for quite a few years. And you know, we built up to a multiple six-figure agency. There's a lot of realities to building a traditional business that people don't tell you when you see a Facebook ad about how to build up your digital marketing agency to 6 figures in 6 months. You know, you go and you go down that path and you don't think about payroll. You don't think about, the responsibilities of the liability of having your own business. I was the director of operations for that business. It was one of my, favorite things that I've ever done in my life. However, we dealt with a lot of challenges. There were so many that I didn't necessarily foresee. And we had to pivot into multiple new business models multiple times. We went from personal branding to traditional lead generation for roofing and solar. And that's when, I kind of got connected with Grady, and we were doing really well after having a lot of challenges. And I got connected with Grady back in, let's say, maybe end of January, early February, right at the beginning of this pandemic. And, originally just reached out because I saw his wife, Chantel. She had posted that, they were pregnant again, that they were having their fourth child. And I thought, man, I haven't talked to Grady in a little bit. Let me just text him and say, hey, congrats. And I get a text from him, hey, can I call you? And I was sitting in like a Walmart parking lot. I just got some groceries or something. And he calls me. And, I kind of feel called to kind of confide in Grady, hey, here's what's going on with my business. We're at a point right now where, COVID's just kicking our butts. We're generating leads for solar and roofing companies, and we're doing really well on our fulfillment side. But the problem is now nobody wants to let these people into their homes to, provide estimates. So now they're telling us that our lead quality is bad. And, on top of a whole other slew of issues, that come along with owning a traditional business. And Grady said, well, okay, well, you're doing the operations for this business, and, do you have any bandwidth available right now where maybe you could come and you could help me here with Family First Life America? You could help me on some of the recruiting efforts, up our marketing. And I thought, you know what? I'm not putting in, a true 40, 50, 60 hours a week to this business like I was a year ago. We're slowed down because of the pandemic. Yeah, I can come on and do some stuff part-time. And I remember Grady saying, hey, and whenever you're ready, we got this amazing business where you can become an insurance producer, and I'll teach you how to make real money. And I said, you know what, Grady, this little box that we've created of, tasks and things that we're going to do for the team, I'm really enjoying that. I want to stay in this box for a while, and I'll let you know. And we started doing that throughout the pandemic. We started creating tools, and, some of the things you guys have seen, the recognition website, a handful of videos, just kind of upping some of the things to make this team, look good. That was kind of I was brought on to help create some recruiting campaigns for, people who are looking to get licensed, and just a lot of fun things. That's, one of my favorite things to do. And kind of what happened was, just over the last couple of months, just to give you guys some background, my wife, she's incredible. She has been a teacher by trade for the last 7 years, first, third, and fifth grade. And in our first year of dating, she decided to take off a year from school to go on a mission trip to Africa. And she ended up deciding to become a substitute teacher that year. And of course, when you're a substitute teacher, now she wanted to go back into the classroom, so she had to reapply. She ended up getting a new position as a fifth grade teacher, brand new school, incredible experience. But they put her on a temporary contract, meaning they said, hey, we don't know how many students are going to be coming back the following year, so we're going to hire you for this position, and we'll let you know what the student count looks like, and we'll let you know if you get the job again the next year. Well, comes the end of the year, she did an amazing job. Letters of recommendation just on blast from students, parents, top people in the district. And they ended up saying, you need to reapply for the job and re-interview. And they ended up giving it to somebody else. And it was tough for us. It was kind of like a slap in the face because she worked so hard. And obviously we lost, a portion of our income there, and that was tough. So, I had some guaranteed income, working with Grady, some income coming from my business. And then, we lost half of our income just basically overnight. And, huge blessings came out of this. She was really praying for a community of people for her to find. And, she found an incredible group of, women that are doing faith and fitness training. So I'm just going to do a, shameless plug for her. Women, if you're looking for a group of women to grow closer to the Lord and get on your home fitness grind on this pandemic, hit me up. I'll plug you in with my wife, and they've got an incredible program there. But that happened, and I kind of looked at Grady and said, I'm ready. I've been watching you guys. I've been seeing what you're doing, and I'm seeing people, like, Alex Strait and Jordan Lowry, guys that I did network marketing with back in the day. And I saw how much they've grown through this. And, they were incredible guys when I knew them back then, but to see how much they've grown now, it blew my mind. And I said, okay, if those guys can do it, I can do it. all they did was they just decided to put in the work. They decided to follow Grady, and Grady followed Andrew and Paul and et cetera, and Sean. And that's all that I have to do. So I just said, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. I don't half-ass anything. I only full ass. And I just decided I got to do this. I got to do this for my future family. And I want to make it happen. So for me, the numbers on the screen are really cool. However, I just told myself I want to get to 100 appointments as fast as possible. That's the only thing that I really, I took a lot of things from boot camp, but that was the major thing that I took from boot camp was how quickly can I get to 100 appointments. And, I said, I'm going to invest in leads. I'm not going to, I'm going to treat it like an adult, as Grady's been putting it lately. And I'm going to do it. And, I was lucky that we still had some guaranteed income. We still had some paychecks coming from, the school system, and I still had some paychecks coming from some other things. So I'm very blessed that I didn't have to start from a point of desperation, where I know a lot of new agents that can happen for them, where, they need to take their last $500 and they need to make it work. They buy 20 leads and they're selling from a point of desperation. I was very blessed that wasn't my situation. I was able to have, an adult conversation with my wife and say, hey, babe, here's what we're going to do. I want to do this business, and it's going to take some investment. And, hey, I just watched this new agent, checklist, and I got to get an iPad and I got to get a bag, and I'm going to go buy a printer. And, that printer, I went to Salem, and apparently there's a shortage of printers during the pandemic because of China. So I had to get the $500 printer because the $90 printer wouldn't work. There was nothing in the middle. So I invested in my business. I got the tools, I bought the leads, and, I know that we're going to talk about some of that stuff later, but, I was willing to, just put in the investment and put in the time. And, Grady, he just kind of told me to figure it out. That was probably the best advice that he gave me. He said, top producers, they'll figure it out. I hit up Grady a couple times being like, hey, in this back office, where do I find this document? And he's just like, dude, figure it out. And, I'm grateful for that because, as I grow a team, I definitely want to, create a similar mentality of people who, they become independent. They're not dependent on me as a leader. And, looking back at my journey in network marketing, that was definitely one of the biggest turnoffs for me. Spending almost, 8 years in the industry, building big teams, going company to company, just created a culture of dependence on, me as a leader. And I love it here because you can go out there and you can, without ever building a team, you can produce and you can take care of your family. If you're willing to work hard, if you're willing to buy the leads, do the appointments, and just sit down with families who requested information. I don't have to go sell my friends and family. I'm not forced to do that. No awkward calls to, grandma or aunt and uncle saying, hey, I'd like to sell you an insurance policy, or hit up any of your friends from high school to join your team. That's not the case. I was able to come in here and I was able to study, didn't have to tell anybody, around me that I was doing anything. I just was able to study, get my license, and go to work. And, I'm just super grateful because we were able to replace my wife's income in less than 24 hours. And obviously, results not typical. You got to work hard. It's not just going to happen overnight. But I was just willing to study, take notes, and just put it into practice. So, yeah, man. I mean, you got any questions about any of that so far?
Dude, just phenomenal. It's just, it's a testament to, let me say it this way. Jamie's a quality guy. You can tell that, right? Strong background, business mindset, right? He's not sitting there around looking for handouts. He's building different businesses, trying different things. He's the type of person who will succeed in an environment like ours because people with heart, they see our platform and they go, so it's just the more leads I buy, the more money I make. And then the more people I talk to, the more people I can help and help grow a team. Like that's the mindset you created. I mean, a lot of it was kind of cultivated from your network marketing background. I got to ask, what was your biggest amount of people you had on your team in network marketing?
Probably close to 10,000. I had 4,000 people in Europe. We had quite a few trips over there. That was a lot of fun.
How many times have you been to Europe?
6, 7.
6, 7 times. You're 27.
Yeah, not lately. Not lately. It's been a while since I've been involved. And what's crazy, I'll just throw this out there, is that in my first week here with Family First Life, I was able to exceed my biggest month that took me a very long time to build in network marketing. So
That's
Yeah.
huge, man. That's the tagline right there. So that's awesome, man. So it's good to see. I mean, we're all blessed to have you. You're going to be a phenomenal trainer. You're leading by example. I mean, 11,000 plus, almost 12,000 your first full week. You did what, 4,000 in the first like 2 days. What do you attest it to? I mean, because some people come in here and they don't do that. It's for you. You're going to go. I just did what I'm supposed to do, right? But what do you? I mean, I want you to say it. What do you think you've done? And granted, this isn't like, it's not, not meteoric. You're not doing something that no other people aren't doing. But what do you think? What do you have within you, or what would be your advice to other new agents that are looking at this?
Yeah. I mean, just remain teachable. Don't try to do it your own way. I mean, there are, I know there's people who come from different insurance and business backgrounds that find this and they say, okay, high commission, I can do this. I know how to sell, but like, this really is not traditional sales in the way that, I at least know it. I sold to business owners for the last couple of years, and, that was some high level sales to sit down with the CEO of a solar company on Zoom and, explain to them how I'm going to help their bottom line. And these are people that, I was able to like just very briefly generate, some slight interest. And I basically had to, convert every part of the interest into a sale. With this, it's so simple because these are people who are straight up requesting information and we're just bringing it to them. So, number one is that mindset. I think that I listened to a video of Sean in boot camp and he just said like that mindset needed to be developed right away, that this is not traditional sales, that you are going to help someone who requested your help. And that was freeing. I'll say that, number one. So like really develop that mindset overall. And I don't think I'm that good on the phones, and I don't think I'm that good in the homes, to be completely real.
Can't be. You're only like a minute in here.
I'm literally a minute in here. I'm still figuring it out. So like, it's definitely not that. I bought leads and I was willing to put in the dials. It said put in 250 dials. So I put in 250 dials. It said book a minimum of 10 appointments. And I said, I'm going to dial until I book 10 appointments. I can't remember who I was listening to. It was on one of the podcasts that FFL does. And someone said, some people, they sit down and they dial and they'll dial and they'll take a break, and they'll dial and they'll take a break. I've just developed, I'm going to sit down and dial till it's done, pretty much, period. And that's been super helpful. The first day that I dialed, it took me like 290 dials to set my, what happened to be like 11 appointments. And the second time, it only took me 125 dials to book 12 appointments. And then last dial day only took me 70 dials to book 12 appointments. So it was kind of crazy. Today, I've booked 5 so far and I've dialed a lot, so it's just days like that. One of the things Grady told me, he's like, you got to be ready for the ups and the downs, don't get emotional. And I think that's the last thing I'll say here in this section is, can't get too high, you can't get too low. I had a really good first day and a really good second day, a really good third day, a really good fourth day. Well, yesterday I got no-showed like 95% of my appointments, only got one sit. I sold one in one sit, but I got no-showed, and I drove, probably 300 miles yesterday. So, and I was looking, I'm like, man, I want to get to 15,000 submit, and I'm like looking at this day and I got 7 appointments, and then every single one of them except for one, no-shows me. And I'm knocking on their door, putting the delivery sticker, blowing up their phones, nothing. So don't get too high, don't get too low. You got another week. You can always invest in more leads. And, if you do it long enough, it'll work.
But awesome. Let's talk about leads. So, you made some statements about people and you're blessed to have some money. Now, granted, you didn't invest $27,000 in leads, like a grand or two to like get yourself off to the races. Anybody on this call who has a cell phone and a car and a home and running water and electricity can find a way to get a grand or two, sell some crap, go look, talk to someone that respects you and trusts you, get $500, $1,000 together and go buy some leads. And if you have it in you, which you should if you're with us, because this is what we do here. We got heart. You just get those leads and you dial the bejesus out of them and book up as many appointments as you can and get in the home and build rapport and call your manager when you got the financial inventory filled out, and we'll help you sell it over the phone. If you will do that, you can do it. So Jamie, although he had a little bit more money to spend, it's nothing that no one else couldn't do. So let's just not make this like,
I didn't spend some like crazy amount of money. I'm not saying that. I just wanted to really say that it wasn't my last $500. So that made me feel good inside, that from a mindset, I didn't have to go sell for desperation. So I was lucky. I got in right when the Independence Day sale was happening. So I went in and I cleared out everything around me in the CRM for old leads. That was just number one. That was the biggest advice that Grady gave me.
Summer is the code right now. If you're watching this in the future, there'll be another code. They're usually pretty awesome about sales, but summer is the code right now, and you get a big discount in the CRM. So keep going.
Yeah. So there was just a handful of counties around me, and at first I was just like, okay, I'm just going to buy the leads only in my county and the county next. And then Grady goes, there's this Independence Day sale going on right now, and it's 50% off. I'm like filled my cart, and I like reached my quota for old leads that I put together. My wife and I, we sat down and like made a budget. We're like, okay, we're gonna spend this amount on old leads, and then we're gonna spend this much on new leads, and then you're gonna go sell, and then we're gonna take every dollar that you basically make off of this first week, and we're going to 30% split off into a tax savings account, which I've never done before. So it's great to do it for the first time. So new agent, do that. And then I'm going to play with house money. I'm going to take that money that I just made and I'm going to put it right back into leads until we get to a point where we're comfortable enough and there's a big enough cushion that we'll start to, draw from that. So, started playing with house money pretty quick, which was awesome. But I took $500 and I was able to get $1,000 worth of old leads. They ranged anywhere from like $1.50 to, $3.50, anywhere from, 0 to 9 months old, Facebook final expense. And I bought a handful of like old mortgage protection leads, which I haven't really touched yet. Just been sticking to the final expense. And then I made a, like $500 purchase with Game Time, got my first 20 new leads and quickly realized I needed 20 more. So, did it again. And then the next week, bought 50 leads. So I probably put in like $2,500 into leads so far. And in terms of like submitted business, I'm like just under 16,000. So it blows my mind that that's possible. And the crazy thing is I have not resolved all those leads. Obviously I want to resolve all of them. So there's still a lot of money sitting there in those leads. I do plan on continuing to invest into more leads. I'm really lucky that, in the first week, I was able to talk to Clay. I was able to talk to Ashley, and they gave me some advice on, where to start with leads. I started with Game Time. I'm about to start to expand my horizons into a couple other vendors, but it was cool that there's other leaders that are able to share those secrets with me of, who they think are, the best ones for a new agent to start with. And it tells me how much insurance they're requesting. It tells me their favorite hobby, and it tells me, in real time, the timestamp of when they requested the info. So, I get on the phone and someone says, I didn't do that. I'm like, well, Betty, it says you did it here yesterday at 3:15. And it says your favorite hobby is gardening. She's like, oh yeah, I guess I did do that. So it's cool.
Let's go to your phone script. The guy phone script of, you're probably what, 1,000 dials in. How many appointments you sat so far? I know you're tracking some of this stuff.
Yeah, I am tracking. I think I sat my 23rd or 24th appointment yesterday.
So new agents, anyone watching, anyone looking, he's spent $2,500. He's sat 23 appointments. So what means you booked 30, 35?
Let's see, probably 10 to 12 each time. And this is my 4th dial day today. So yeah, probably
40.
Yeah.
So you sat 23 and made nearly $16,000.
Yeah, I would say that of the ones I've sat with, they've been laydowns for the most part. Like final expense, it's pretty easy for the most part, unless somebody has some ridiculous, I need to think about it, and they won't break on that no matter what you say. And obviously I have skills to learn in terms of being able to, really take control and paint the picture and, make sure they understand how important it is. But for the most part, I just followed the scripts when it came to the dialing and the in-home, and, that's all I did.
Smart. So yeah. Let's do your phone script. We'd love for people to hear how that's going for you. So ring, ring.
Grady.
Ring, ring. Oh yeah. Okay.
Hi. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Grady.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Jamie getting back to you from the Senior Benefits Department in Lynn County regarding the Facebook request you sent us for the state-regulated life insurance program for burial and final expense. Remember, it was the one where you said that your favorite hobby was hunting. The purpose of this call was just to confirm some information that you gave us, make sure that I'm reading it right so I can prepare. You listed your date of birth here as 1941. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, perfect. And I see your address here is 123 Main Street. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, and I don't see it listed here. Maybe I'm missing it, but are you a smoker or a non-smoker, Grady?
Non-smoker.
Okay, cool. And are you single, married, widowed, divorced?
I'm married.
Married? Okay, cool. And are you still working, retired, disabled?
I'm still working.
Still working? Okay, great. And do you have any adult children?
Not this time, no.
Okay, got it. Okay, Grady, let me ask you this. When you took the time to fill out this form, what was your primary focus? Was it just to make sure that you didn't burden, your spouse or a family member, should you pass with the expenses of, burial or cremation or any other expenses? Or were you looking to potentially leave something extra to your family in the form of a financial gift, God forbid you pass?
Probably more so the first one. I wanted to make sure that my wife doesn't have a big expense.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's why 98% of my clients go ahead and fill these out. So good news, Grady. There's about a dozen options that you can go ahead and qualify for, and they're all non-medical. No blood, no urine, no needles. What the state does is they just make me come out and sit down with you for about 15 to 20 minutes to make sure that, number one, you are who you say that you are, that nobody's trying to get insurance in your name. And number two, to make sure that you're not hospitalized or bedridden or something like that. Now, they've actually got me booked pretty solid in your area for the next couple of days. They've got me seeing between 15 to 20 families a day. So I don't have a lot of time, only about 15 to 20 minutes. But you did say that you were retired. Do you have any doctor's appointments tomorrow?
I do.
You do? Okay, great. What time are you going to be in the door from that doctor's appointment?
I should be back around 3.
Around 3? Okay, so I don't have anything at 3, but I do have something at 3:45 or 4:15. Which one of those would work better for you?
3:45 is fine.
3:45? Okay, perfect. So, and Grady, is it a house or an apartment?
It's a house.
It's a house, okay. And what color is the house?
Brown.
Brown, okay. And any big dogs or gates that I got to jump over to get to the front door?
No dogs. No gates.
No? Okay. And are the numbers in the house or the mailbox?
They're on the street.
They're on the street? Okay. Are they like on the curb?
Yeah, they're on the curb.
Okay.
And then they're also on the house. So yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to be out there, it looks like, at 3:45 tomorrow, which is Monday or Tuesday. And Grady, could you do me a favor? Could you grab a pen and paper? I want to give you a confirmation code.
Go ahead.
Perfect. So first thing I want you to write down is my name, Jamie, Jamie. Next, I want you to write down our appointment time, which is tomorrow, Tuesday at 3:45 p.m. Okay, and let me know when you're ready for that confirmation code.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so it's J as in Jamie, and then 815, and then C as in cat. So J815C. You got that?
Got it.
Okay, perfect. Like I said, 3:45 tomorrow. You've got the confirmation code J815C. So go ahead, add this to your calendar. I'll add it to mine. And just so you know, I'll be driving a silver car. I've got brown hair. I'll be wearing a polo and a really cool name tag. So if you see me walking up the driveway, you can put the shotgun away. Does that sound fair enough, Grady?
That sounds good. That sounds fair.
Okay, perfect. So Grady, last thing, I'll be coming from a ways away. Like I said, I'm seeing 15 to 20 families tomorrow. So it'll really throw a monkey wrench in my schedule if you weren't there. So barring an emergency, is there any reason why you wouldn't be there tomorrow at 3:45?
No, I should be home. We should be back from the doctor.
Okay, perfect. All right, Grady, I'll see you tomorrow at 3:45. I look forward to meeting you and helping you.
Sounds good, Jamie.
See ya.
Very good. Very, very good. Hold your script up so people can see that you didn't just memorize the whole thing.
So this is the script that was in the back office or on our training website. And what I did was obviously I went through boot camp and I just took some of the things that I saw from everybody and put it together. So one of the things that I noticed that wasn't in this script that I really wanted to be, because I saw the importance of it, was some of the things that Grady taught when it comes to tying it down. So I wanted to make sure that I added that in there. And that's been very, very helpful for me. So, just kind of combining all that stuff.
Help people.
So the things that I added were, after it asks, are you a smoker or non-smoker? I ask if they're single, married, widowed, or divorced, so that I can just kind of mentally prepare. If I'm just going to be writing them a policy, if their husband or wife's going to be home, if they say married, oh, what's your wife's name? What's your husband's name? And I'm writing that down. So I come to the door and Kathy answers, I know, oh, Kathy, rather than Grady. So, I can make sure that I have that. And, are you working, retired or disabled? Well, I want to know if, obviously if they're under 65, I'm assuming that if they filled this out, they're either working or disabled because they're not on Social Security. They're probably not retired. And if I know that, they either have a paycheck from work, they've got Social Security or a disability check. So I can know, coming in already, what to ask about. And then I want to know if they have any adult children. So I know if, they say I'm single, I'm divorced, I'm widowed, I want to know that's who the beneficiary is going to be, is their adult child. So I always ask that. I also added in, the tie it down. Is it a house or an apartment? What color's your house? Any big dogs or gates? Numbers on the house, and then the confirmation code. I think that's huge. And
Yeah.
I was listening to someone, and I just recently added the shotgun thing, and I've been getting laughs out of it. So I thought that, that's funny. I've had a couple people who are just like super cold with me on the phone. And then I throw that in at the end and they just start dying laughing. So I'm like, all right, that's good. It just kind of broke the ice.
That's good, bro. That's good. And so you live in a super big metropolitan area, is that right?
No, I live on a 55-acre farm with my wife in the middle of Oregon. And, our town, granted our town's 50,000 people.
Okay.
However, I do have to travel within like a 2 to 3 hour radius, to be able to go out and do this.
That's cool. So where do you, so 2 to 3, that's the thing. I love about good agents is they understand the value. Leads lead. Client says, I'm interested, please help me. I don't care if it's my next door neighbor or an hour and a half away. I'm going to do something in the car, right?
Mm-hmm.
Turn it into mobile university. You're helping agents. You're listening to trainings. You make it productive time.
Yeah.
And so, it's good to see you utilizing that in a lot of the trainings. Now, what are some of your favorite trainings you listened to so far?
Well, Paul McLean's 8 steps for the final expense. That's been huge. Actually, one of the things that I did, and this was super helpful for me. So like as a new agent, like obviously the phone script was already enough to master. And I remember, I just went through boot camp. All right, I just bought these leads. I just dialed these leads and set appointments. And then I'm like, all right, Grady, like now I have to actually like go get in a home with these people. Like, what am I going to do? What am I going to say? And he's like, just watch the videos. And I'm like, I'm kind of overwhelmed with information here. This is a lot. So one thing that I did was, there's no shame in this. Like you can have a cheat sheet. That's one thing I want you guys to know. So like one thing I did was I made a cheat sheet, but I just put agenda at the top to make it look official so that they think like, okay, that's officially brought an agenda. And on the agenda, it's the 8 steps for Paul McLean's training. Number 1, who am I? Number 2, why most people fill these out. Number 3, the 3 things we're trying to accomplish here today. Number 4, what the process looks like. Number 5, the financial and health inventory. Number 6, the quotes. Number 7, see if you qualify. And then I think I threw off number 8. It's not on there. But I think number 1 was actually mindset. So I didn't put that on there for the client. So basically it's like, hey, I sit down and the first thing that I do is I pull out, I bring this cool bag that I got and, it's got all kinds of pockets in it. And one of the first things that Grady told me to do is like buy a bunch of folders and print out pretty much all the tools and, just look professional. Like go in there like you look like, you know what you're doing. So I go in and I sit down and I open up my bag. And the first thing that I do is I open up a folder and I pull out my state license and I start going through the agenda and I say, Grady, first thing I want you to know is that I'm not a salesperson. I'm a field underwriter. What that means is that I'm here to just ask you some health and some financial questions to see what it is that you can qualify for. Second thing, I'm actually a broker. And third, I'm non-captive. And I'll explain kind of what both of those mean. As a broker, and right when I say that, I pull out, I already have it out, but I pull out the credibility sheet. And I say, as a broker, I have access to not 1 or 2 companies, but about 12 companies. So I can shop around for you. And as a non-captive agent, what that means, you know what captive means? It's like State Farm or Allstate or Farmers. And what that means is that they can only sell you 1 or 2 products. If I'm a State Farm agent, I want to sell you State Farm, even if it might not be the best product for you. Whereas, me being a field underwriter, a broker, and a non-captive agent, I can shop around. I can find literally the best product for you at the best price. We're not going to spend $1 more than what your budget is. Does that all make sense? Okay, great. Then I move on to the second thing on my agenda, which is why most people fill these out. So I said, okay, Grady. So the number 1 reason why most people fill these out is because they're looking to make sure that, God forbid they pass, that they're able to cover the final expenses. So that doesn't become a burden to their family, their friends, their adult children, their spouse, etc. Should they pass. Does that make sense? Yep. Okay. If they are if they're a spouse, if they're a married couple, at that point, I'll move on to number 2, which is income replacement. If not, I just leave that one out. Or if they have an adult child living with them that relies on their income, then I'll say this, but I'll say the second reason why most people fill these out is income replacement. Should you or your husband pass, we got to make sure that you're able to cover the bills. You're able to cover this mortgage. You're able to, whatever it is, your adult child is able to make sure that they continue to pay the bills. And then the last one, Grady, is to leave a legacy, meaning that if you've got, children, grandchildren, if there's anything left over after we cover your final expenses, to be able to give that to them as just a financial gift that they can do whatever they want with. Does that make sense? What was the reason, Grady, why you filled out that? Was it, one of those 3?
Yeah, it's to protect my wife.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So, Grady, the 3 things that we want to accomplish, moving on to the 3rd thing on my agenda, is we want to make sure that number 1, more than anything, that you can qualify for something. And that's what we're going to do is I'm going to go to work for you. I'm going to fight for you. I'm going to make sure that you qualify for something. And I can guarantee that you will qualify for something. Okay. The next thing is I want to make sure that you can afford it. We don't want to spend $1 more than what you can afford. And lastly, I want to make sure that you can understand it, because you wouldn't believe how many seniors that I meet with who got wrote a policy by a captive agent somewhere that have no idea what's in their policy, what it means. They find out that they really don't have a whole life policy. They have an accidental policy that only pays out if they get hit by a bus. So I just want to make sure that you understand what's in your policy, that you're comfortable with what's in your policy, that you can afford it, and that you qualify for it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect. Then I move on to number 4 in my outline. And I say, all right, so here's the process of what we're going to do today. We're going to find a plan that's a really good fit for you. And we're going to send in a request for coverage to see if you qualify. And the good news is if you're approved, you're approved. And, if you're not approved, I'm going to pivot to one of these other companies. And I'm pointing down, at my credibility sheet. And, I say, okay. And at that point, I've got my financial inventory out, and I just start going through the questions. Okay, how long have you lived here? Do you rent? Do you own it? Whatever it is. And then at that point going, oh, you're retired. Okay. What did you do before you were retired? Now I can start building a little bit of rapport as I'm going. Oh, I was I worked in a call center. Oh, my mom ran a call center at one point, whatever it is. So right now, I remember you said that you're retired and you're disabled. So you've got Social Security and disability. Yep. Okay. And what's the total, average of what you're making per month from the 2 of those? Oh, I'm making, $1,300 a month. Okay, great. And you wrote down here, you're a non-smoker. Okay. So this part's going to take the longest, but we're going to get through it as quickly as possible. Medications. They say, all of them? And I say, yes, all of them. And they go, all of them. Yes. Can you go and grab the bottles for me? Or if you have a list of your prescriptions? And they say, are you sure? And I'm like, yes. And then they bring out an Easter basket full of prescriptions, 17 to 25 prescriptions. And then I start to write them all down. And, at first I just started taking pictures of the financial inventory, sending it to Grady. Now I'm starting to Google what the different medicines are, put in parentheses, okay, that's high blood pressure. That's, diabetic. That's this, that's that. And, I know, okay, these ones don't really matter. These are the ones worth highlighting. So, medications, surgeries, I have to use the back of the financial inventory because at least the people that I meet with, they take a lot of medications. I meet with some sick people. So it's nice to be able to protect somebody. Find out who their beneficiary is, who's their family. Just go through and read the questions word for word. Have you ever had a heart attack? Have you ever had a stroke? Et cetera, et cetera. Do you have anything in place that acts like life insurance that's not life insurance, like a 401k, an IRA, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, CDs, significant savings? No, nothing. Okay. Any life insurance? Yes, no. Okay. How much? Who with? Okay. Identity theft protection? No. Do you have a will? No. Okay. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a free resource. And I write down on the bottom of their credibility sheet, doyourownwill.com, parentheses free, or go to legalzoom.com. All right. So you can have that no matter what. And, I'm doing that. And then I look at it. And at this point, I have no idea what to write. Zero clue whatsoever. So I look at them and I go, all right, I think I know what direction I'm going to go here. But first, I need to call my senior underwriter and make sure. And either I call Grady or I take a picture, put it in the in-home help channel, send it to Ashley, to Clay, to Nina, to Julius, Alex. People have been just very, gracious in helping me, which I'm very, very grateful for having access to them. And they let me know, hey, Americo Eagle all the way, MM, ROP. No, you should go over here to Moo, make sure you add an accidental. And, at that point, then I pull out my trusty iPad and I pull out the quote app and I say, all right, I think I know what direction we're going to go. we're going to start out with Americo, and we're going to see if you can get approved. But I don't know if you can get approved. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to run some quotes, see what it is that you can qualify for, run some quotes based on like 2 and 5 and 7% of their income, show them the max amount they can qualify for. And then, at that point say, hey, here's what it's going to look like. And, should you qualify, I don't know if you can qualify, Grady, which one of these do you think will be the most comfortable for you based on, the monthly premium fitting your budget and then also the total benefit at the end, and it's like, okay, yeah, I also probably have asked them, do you want to be buried or cremated, et cetera. I know if they want to be cremated, I Googled, average cremation in Oregon is $3,000. So I say, Grady, did you know, according to Google, in 2020, cremation average is, $3,000. He goes, well, I got a friend who got cremated for $700. And I say, okay, that's great. $2,300 more that can go to your family. So at that point, find out what's most comfortable for them. They say, okay, the middle option, the $10,000 in coverage for $43.76 a month. And I say, okay, well, Grady, the number one thing that I want to say before we go ahead and we submit something is the best kind of life insurance is the kind of life insurance that's in place when you die. So we need to make sure this stays in place. So this benefit, do you believe that you can pay this for the rest of your life? Because if you can't and it lapses, obviously we'll give you a grace period, to make sure if there's ever something crazy happens. But if this is not in place on a monthly basis, if you die, your family won't get anything. Does that make sense? They say yes. And so you can afford this for the rest of your life? Yeah, I can afford this for the rest of my life. Okay, perfect. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to submit a request for coverage. And if you're approved, you're approved. If not, I'll pivot to something else. Sound good? And at that point, I go through the app. And if they get approved, they get approved, and I'm out of there.
That was a clinic, Jamie. That was a clinic. 23 sits, student of the business. Student of the business. Mm-hmm. Anyone watching this right now can do exactly what Jamie's accomplished by just committing to this, by giving up, eliminating distractions, digging into the boot camp, taking copious notes, listening to the training calls, committing to this. The life you're now able to give your wife and future kids has changed in the past month because so it's awful that Katie lost her job, but big guy had a plan and it was a different direction. And now you're in this new universe that has you in control. You in control of your income, you in control of your day-to-day processes. You answer to no one but her pretty much now. And the big guy, but the sky's the limit, man. And this is Jamie. Dude, I'm so proud of you, man. I'm so happy for you. I am so impressed with how quickly you've dug in this material because there's agents that have been on 200 appointments that don't have their in-home down that well. Because you know what they do? They wing. They're wingers. And they wing it, and they're like just going to throw in there, and they're going to try it. And sometimes they use a financial inventory, and sometimes they do this, and sometimes they do that, and they don't listen to training calls. They don't call in the home. And I empathize with them for their lack of discipline, but I also don't respect them for being disciplined. And you are clearly a disciplined student of this business, and it's going to pay you dividends, man. I'm very proud of you. I'm so happy for you. Thank you for all you just shared. A lot of new agents are inspired and now have a mark. What can you do in your first, second, third week? What can you do? Like this is what's possible. $12,000 in your first full week. What'd you do? Did you do anything crazy? Did you have any huge $6,000 policies? No, a lot of little 5, 6, 700, a couple 12.
A lot of AIG. A lot of sick people, and that is what it is. The last thing I'll say is I just got super organized. When I kind of got a little bit probably went a little overboard, but I went to Staples and bought myself like 100 blue folders and 1 million manila folders, all this stuff, and it just establishes credibility. That was one of the things that I really took from Grady was he said, go in there and be a professional. Like go in there and you're the doctor. You're there to you got the lab coat on. You're there to diagnose. You're there to tell them what we're going to be doing today. And biggest things is I come in, I've got a really nice folder for myself that I pull my license out of and my agenda, and I pull the lead card out of. Then I've got a folder that I have prepared. They're just generic folders. And inside of it, it's got the client profile, the financial inventory, the credibility sheet, and then the final expense whole life benefits. And obviously when I start doing some mortgage protection, I'll add in, the mortgage protection benefit sheet. And then it's got my business card in it. And when I'm all done, obviously I keep the financial inventory and the client profile. So when I'm all done, I say, all right, Grady, it was so great to be able to work with you. I'm glad that I was able to get some protection in place. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start a file on you. And I literally pull out this file out of my bag and I write Grady Polcyn on the top. And then I stick the financial inventory, the client profile, the voided check, the lead card, everything in there, and I shove that in my bag, and that's for my records. So just in case your check ever voids or your account doesn't work, we've got your account information, and we can put something back in place should you want to. Also in my bag, I've got the delivery notice stickers. There's a picture of these on the boot camp, so I went to Vistaprint, and I got a bunch of sticky notes, and I went to Zazzle. I think somebody in one of the groups said to do that, and I made this on Canva. I just copied somebody else's, and I got my license number on there, and it just increases credibility. I came in as a brand new agent with literally no clue what I was doing. And I remember calling Grady in my first home being like, my writing numbers, they're not working. And he's like, call customer service, figure it out. And I was like, all right, cool. I guess I'm just going to figure it out right now. So, just figure it out. And if you're willing to figure it out yourself, you'll pay dividends.
Right, man. That's right. Well, thank you, Jamie, so much for coming on. Everyone, drop a good job or drop a 1 in the comments below just to show Jamie some love. These comments explode because that was awesome, Jamie. But it's a testament to studying you as a person, believing in yourself, but also believing in what FFL's done. You're like, I don't know if I can do this, but for me, I was like, if all these dudes can do it, if all these ladies can do it, what could I do? Right? All they did was listen to these same trainings, take notes, commit to it. Sky's the limit, man. Very proud of you. Great job. And we're looking forward to seeing that first column club. Now, once you go first column, you don't ever go back to second column, okay? There's still...
I can't go back, but now the next goal is master being an individual producer, and then we start to grow the team. I mean, that's what I'd like to do. I want to be a producer here.
You're going to help a lot of people, man. Proud of you. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you all. Crush your dial day. Get in there. Dial till the job gets done. Had a huge week. 463 as a team. Our best week we've ever had as a team. And that means it's the best week many of us have ever had as producers. Don't hit that new agent phenomenon and go 10K and 2K. Just do 10 and 10 and 10. Life's better. Life's better in the first column. Proud of you all. Grateful for you all. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.